Yes. You said something
Somebody, I can't do it. He's only here for good. Oh, I bet you did too. No, I put it over there. No, I didn't touch that. See, you fix it?
Yeah. All right, that's what.
Don't roll you. Yeah, pretty much. And we, I still have friends that live there. The life that gives me some more. Here's free. It's just my chair. Wow, this way. That's great. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the Blytheville Board of Directors September monthly meeting. Today is September the 26th, 2024. The time is now 6:03 p.m. I will call this meeting is officially called to order. I will establish a quorum by a roll call of the Board of Directors. Mrs. Carrington. Mrs. Bogart.
Here.
Mrs. Johnson.
Here.
Mrs. Nichols.
Present.
Mr. Jefferson. Here. Myself. Wow. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start, I would like to thank each and every one of you for attending tonight's meeting. As every meeting, we start out remembering our why. But we have some fresh coat of paint and new pictures on the way. So thank you for the work that's being done to show our community our why in the future. The boardroom is now being currently renovated and updated with current pictures and student achievement for us to see by the next month's meeting in October. Our why, our kids, our community, they're deserving of our best. So I look forward to the information that has been prepared for the board of directors tonight. As we will follow our agenda for tonight's meeting. We will now move down to unfinished business. Mrs. Blankenship.
At the last meeting, we made a presentation about Relay, and the programs and things that they offer. And you guys tabled it. You want to hear from them. So they're Zooming with us tonight to share more and answer any questions that you may have about their particular program. There we are. Good evening. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, perfectly. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Are we good to go? Do you guys have
You
access
are
to the
good go,
presentation?
so we're good to go. We're ready for your presentation, and then they may have a few questions.
Perfect. So to confirm, you do have the slides in front of you, trustees. Or do I share screen?
You can share your screen.
Perfect. Well, in the meantime, I'll introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Eneida Padro. I am the Vice President for the Instructional Leadership Academies here with Relay. I am unable to share my screen. If someone can give me privileges to share my screen, that would be great. Perfect. Well, thank you for having me here, and excited to hear about your why and the reason why you do the work that you do. Looking at the screen before we dive into sharing more about our programs, we always want to ground ourselves in our vision and mission. We believe that every student deserves access to outstanding educators so they can have a clear path to a fulfilling life. And that's why here at Relay, we focus in supporting educator development at every level, from teachers, school leaders, system level leaders, etc. That's why we call ourselves the Relay of educators. When we think about our leadership programs, specifically our development for school leaders, assistant principals, instructional coaches, and principal supervisors, we see from our participants that 95% of them agree or strongly agree that our content is high quality. Also, another 95% strongly agrees that our trainings prepare them to provide high quality feedback to teachers that results in growth. And 90% strongly agrees that our training has made them a more effective leader. I can attest to this, as I was a principal back in the day in Dallas ISD, and I was in a turnaround environment, and this content truly helped me serve my kids and my community better. We believe in these three key pieces, and this is how we build our programs. We strive to be equity-centered, making sure all students have access to Tier 1 instruction. We are research-based and actionable, and everything we do is based on practice and feedback. Everyone leaves our trainings having tried to do what we just shared about and tried to learn, teach them about. Yes. Was there a question? No. Here we have an example of a partnership. We started partnering with DC Public Schools back in 2018. They reached out to us because they had two school networks with lagging student achievement. And that was the beginning of our partnership. To this day, that partnership has flourished into more of a district-wide support, but we have seen some strong student achievement outcomes out of this work. Here are three key pieces we have found. The schools that Relay supported directly saw greater gains in student achievement for ELA when compared to the district average. The same was true for math. And in math, the schools we were supporting, we saw double-digit gains. And in DCPS, they have this Bold Performance School Award. And for a second year in a row, 3 out of the 5 schools that are selected were schools that we were currently supporting as well. We truly believe that in order to move the needle for student growth and achievement, we have to tackle the instructional leadership piece, the cultural leadership piece, and the strategic leadership piece as well. And this is where our programs sort of came to be. Here are 3 of our instructional leadership academies. We have the National Principal Supervisors Academy, the National Principal Academy, and the Instructional Leadership Professional Development. What we hear from partners across the country is that when they're able to send a vertically aligned team, like you have a principal manager coming to the Supervisors Academy, and then some of their principals come to the Principal Academy, and those principals, assistant principals, or instructional coaches attend the ILPD, which is the last one, there's more cohesion, and they're able to see more traction around implementation of key practices to improve student outcomes. The ILPD one, which is the one on the right, it's a summer-only program, and that's the one that we recommend is selected for supporting school leaders. The other 2 are more year-long programs where participants receive support through an advisor. They have multiple opportunities for professional development, and they also have a capstone project where they're able to set goals to improve outcomes for their students. And here is a high level of the content that our participants see across all 3 programs. This is coming from Leverage Leadership, Paul Bambrick-Santoyo's work. We cover weekly planning meetings, data meetings, strategic planning, data-informed instruction, also known as data-driven instruction, culture and coaching adults, which is our observation and feedback pieces. This last component comes from our cohort from last year. I mentioned one of the pieces of the program, the year-long program, is people work on a specific goal to improve student achievement or leader or teacher growth in their schools, and they set a goal. Here are the results from last year's cohort when they presented their capstone project in April. 71% of them met their goals for ELA, 81% for math, and 92% for teacher and or leader growth. And to close our presentation, here are some quotes from participants we served last year. We worked with a large cohort last year from Little Rock, Arkansas. So we value the opportunity to continue supporting your community as we think about opportunities for next school year for your leaders. And I'm here to take any questions you might have, and I will do my best to answer all of them.
Yes, thank you for your presentation tonight. How long is the summer intensive program for our leaders?
Yes, so we have the year-long program, either for supervisors or for principals. And their summer, they have 2 virtual sessions. And then we all meet in person for an entire week, Monday through Friday. We end that Friday at noon. For the ILPD program, which is the one for supporting leaders, they also have 2 virtual sessions before we meet in person. Once we are in person, they are there Monday through Thursday at noon.
Thank you. Like, how many of our leaders?
Well, we haven't chosen anyone. Nobody was chosen in advance already, so it's up to us for this time.
How many candidates?
How many seats? There were different levels of programs. Would you go over that again? How many for each? How many?
Of course. So what was the information that I received is that the plan was to send 1 principal supervisor to the year-long program, 1 principal supervisor to the year-long program, and 4 supporting leaders to the summer-only program. But as we think about next year, those seats can be reallocated however you understand will have the greatest impact in your district.
What else? Can you explain a little more about the difference between the summer program and the year-long program? I
Absolutely.
guess what we had planned to do.
Yes. The summer program is more like a foundational course. The summer program will start with a data-informed instruction day. That one is virtually. Then they will have a day that focuses on leading an equity-centered student culture. They will also have an observation and feedback day, a weekly data meeting day, and then a half a day of strategic planning. So they basically have a foundational day on each of the key levers from leverage leadership, Paul Bambrick's and Toyo's work. The year-long program has that same foundation. They just have an additional day for strategic leadership, which is more like planning for priorities and the rollout of the school year. And then they go more into depth in each area throughout the year-long program.
So how many touches happen with your company and our district throughout that that year-long program?
So the year-long program has that summer intensive experience. Then they have a virtual triathlon, which is where our participants log in virtually and they practice. They have 3 areas where they practice and they get one-on-one coaching to support implementation. We see them again in person in October for a 2-day training. We see them again in January for virtual training. That time they don't have to travel. And then we see them 2 more days in May for our last 2-day training. And throughout the year, we don't have additional in-person touch points, but there are implementation clinics that are virtual where they can join and ask for support. We have office hours where they meet one-on-one with their advisor, and they also have the opportunity to submit a video so they can get feedback in the way they utilize a data meeting, a planning meeting, or an observation and feedback debrief, so they can get that proficiency development, and they not only do it, but they do it well. That will change outcomes for kids.
Any other board members have any other questions?
Is the cost, the 93,000, is that all inclusive?
The 93,000 is inclusive of those 4 summer-only seats and the 2-year-long seats. It includes hotel, it includes breakfast and lunch, also a morning and afternoon snack. The only meal we do not cover is dinner, and we do not cover flights to get to the in-person events, but everything else is included.
Where is this? Say it doesn't cover flights to where?
Yes. So, for example, we haven't determined the locations for next year just yet. That would be in our website, hopefully by December. This year, we have 2 summer intensive dates, trying to give flexibility to our participants. We had one in Chicago, we had one in Houston, and participants can choose where they go. And then we are meeting in October in Houston, and in May, we're going to Chicago. So we try to alternate that way. We do not have the locations for next year yet, but that's how it usually works, and that's where the flight will come into place.
So have we missed the enrollment period for, you mentioned that we start off with the summer intensive, so with summer being gone, this would be for next year, is that correct? So we'd be on hold for this whole year?
Yes, because we started already, and the summer intensive gives such a foundational piece on every area that if you want to explore, if we could start with Intercession 1, which is in Houston. I just do not know if we will be able to make everything on time where they can join us by October 17th, because I definitely do not recommend joining the program after that October touch point, because it would have missed half of it. And you wouldn't get to reap the benefits of the great, it's really great content. And I believe the district is already familiar with leverage leadership. the power of Paul Bambrick's and Toyo's work is that these are tools that participants are ready to leave us and implement them the next day. That's how the tools are built and how our trainings are oriented. I think we would also be happy if there's an urgency for your district to think about how could you use those funds differently this school year. We would be more than happy to engage in a conversation with you. It's not about us, it's about you and the kids and your team and what we can do to support you. So I'll be happy to take that back to our team and explore what can be done if you have an urgency for this year.
Where did we hear about them?
This was, if I may. Go ahead. This was part of, Jeremy Thompson's, information that was presented, Relay School, that was previously, brought to the district. We were unaware of it until an email came and we missed the summer deadline for participants to participate this past summer's, program. The district was unaware of at that time, so
Have we talked to anybody else that uses this program?
this is that was our first time ever hearing of it, but we were responsible for the MOU that we signed as a district for this. And I believe Dr. Jones and Dr. Perkins initially started this, with Richard.
So at this time, you believe it would best suit our district to wait and do the program through the summer, and start with everyone else in your normal format. Is that correct?
If these programs is a type of support that your leaders would benefit from the most, which is like more professional development oriented, that would be the best course of action, what I would recommend. However, our team also does coaching and we offer strategic partnership. And like what I'm trying to say is that I want you to know that we're also flexible to, if you have an urgency to use the services now, they might not look the same. It might not be these programs. We are also open to explore that with you because it is September. You still have an entire school year ahead of you to increase outcomes for kids. So I just I wanted to leave that door open.
They've been very flexible throughout the whole thing because when it started, it was the original different price. So once we filled them in on what was happening, they said that they could defer our seats. They gave us this price, and so they've been working with us, and they've been very flexible about what we can do with the program.
I'm just gun shy. Sorry.
But the data that you presented tonight is of the program and the model of the program that starts with the summer intensive program with the touches in October and May and the virtual sessions. So we wouldn't know the data for something outside of that if we were to tailor something specifically to our needs. So it's something that we're going to have to do, whether we do it now or wait until the summer for the best possible outcome approach to it.
Is there a possibility where we could potentially, do the program twice, do it this year, do a summer intensive, and then, continue to have support throughout the next year since we're doing it backwards effectively?
Agreed. I think the challenge with that is, of course, like we would be nimble and as flexible as we possibly can to support you. The only barrier that I see with that is that the content that our participants will see in October, January, and May gets increasingly more complex. For example, in the summer, our participants learn our protocol for weekly data meetings. They learn the protocol for observation and feedback. And then October, January, and May, it's all about how do you get better at it? And if we include the participants now, hoping they will make it to October 17th and 18th, they will jump into how to make it better without having a chance to learn the protocol first. So I think we just need to think through what would it look like to support them to do that. And I'm also not sure if we will be able to make it by October 17th, but I'm more than happy to explore that option and think through how could we make this happen so your team has access to their resources sooner than later.
I think we'll need to hear more from you about how, if we can prepare our group for this year, or if we just need to wait till next year. We need to hear more from y'all about what you can do to accelerate our program, if that's even possible. That makes sense.
Absolutely. I think what I can do, I can just take this back to our team and see what options can we share. And I'm also wondering, it would be important to know what leaders are you thinking of that would benefit from this, or would be better position to take in the knowledge and run with it, because that could also impact the original MOU. It had 4 summer seats, and we don't have that available, so we would have to convert. The only seats we would be able to work around would be the year-long ones.
We can connect more tomorrow and get more information.
Perfect. I will do my homework then.
Are there other schools in Arkansas that are using this program?
We have some participants from Little Rock again this year. We had about 30 of them last year. Dr. Wright used to be he was in the first cohort of National Principal Supervisors Academy several years ago, and we worked with them to bring this to Little Rock last year. And what they did differently, since they had such a large group, is that instead they came to us for summer intensive, but then October and May, we went to them because it was a large group and they were able to have, choose the sessions that better met their needs, and their team didn't have to travel.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, and I'll be reaching out tomorrow. We can connect again.
Thank you,
Thank
Interim
Appreciate your
Superintendent
time.
Blankenship. Thank you, everyone.